Welcome to the Bucky Brooks Show. I am Bucky Brooks, and I am fresh off a trip to Jacksonville. We had a chance to check out the Jacksonville Jaguars opening up training camp. A lot of excitement, a lot of optimism that this team has a legitimate chance to be a title contender. And I got to say, I love hearing that. The Jaguars made a lot of progress last year when they finished 13-4. Liam Cohen, Trevor Lawrence, that team was up and rolling, one of the hottest teams down the stretch. Didn't quite finish it off the way that they wanted to, but man, they feel great about where the team is. They feel really good about the direction and the new pieces that they've added. And I think there's a general sense that this team is ready to be a consistent team that is always in the conversation of not only being in the playoffs, but being a title contender. I think it's interesting when you hear the conversation about the team on the outside. When we pull up the stats and talks about regular season wins, you'll see our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook have done a really good job of kind of projecting where the Jags can go. When I look at their regular season win totals and numbers, like, look, over 7.5, you see minus 230. So there's a lot of optimism there. Under 7.5, you see up and over in there. Like, regardless of what line you want to play, I think there's a great sense that the Jaguars are going to be a very competitive team and a team that is going to be in the conversation to be in the postseason. And after spending some time there, after spending some time with the front office and the head coach, Liam Cohen, I am very confident, very bullish on what the Jaguars are doing. And I'm even coming away with a better understanding of some of the things that took place over the controversial draft weekend, where the Jags were graded at an F, but they feel confident that they will be the last people laughing when it comes down to it, based on how their rookies and how their draft picks eventually play for them, how they contribute, and how they fit into the overall fabric of the team. And speaking of the team, last year this team made a bold move to go and get Travis Hunter, traded away a bunch of picks, traded away a first-round pick to get Travis Hunter because they wanted him to be a dynamic playmaker. Last year at this time, we had the expectation that Travis was going to be a two-way player, a guy that started on offense and defense and made it happen. I'll temper those expectations based on what I watched, based on how he was deployed, and say that I believe that Travis Hunter is going to be a 1.5-way player, meaning he's going to be a full-time starter on defense, but he may be a package player on offense. And if you listen to the Jaguars throughout the offseason, they've talked about that. They've talked about the need to get him on the field on defense. They are changing and tweaking some of the things they did on defense that will really better suit what Travis Hunter provides on the perimeter. This is a team that wants to play zone defense, meaning they want to have eyes on the quarterback. They want to be able to generate turnovers off tips and overthrows. And the best way to do that is to have people in zone, people being able to see the ball come out of the quarterback's hands, and they're able to react quickly based on shoulder movements, quarterback's intentions, running to the ball, picking off things that are tipped and deflected at the line of scrimmage or down the field. Well, in Travis Hunter, they not only get a guy who has tremendous ball skills, like if you see him on the field in Jags practice, not only on defense does he have the best ball skills, but you can say that he probably has the best hands on the team. Well, in a defense that is going to play a little more zone, but with match principles, this allows him to really play to the strengths of his game. He is a talented athlete. He is someone that likes to play nose to nose and press bail and do those things, but he also has great instincts, awareness, and anticipation. Well, when you put a guy like that at left corner in a defense that is going to have plenty of opportunities to allow him to make plays on the ball, you're counting on him not only generating a few turnovers, but kind of changing the way that your defense goes after people. Last year, despite their success on defense, they were still concerned about their inability to be a little tighter, a little stickier in coverage. Well, now with Travis Hunter on one side, Buster Brown on another side, and then Jordan Lewis or Jarian Jones on the inside, they feel better about their ability to kind of stick and pick on these wide receivers on the outside. Travis Hunter looked great coming off that injury. When you had a chance to watch him on the field, you can see that he's bulked up a little bit, looked like he's gained anywhere from 7 to 10 pounds. He just looks more filled out, more polished, more aware. And I'm going to say, I'm really impressed with his movement skills. Sometimes coming off an ACL, it typically takes the second year removed from the injury for the guy to show the athleticism and the explosiveness that was a part of his game prior to the injury. But so far, so good. He looks like he's that player. And then offensively, I got to tell you, the way they're splitting the reps, he's still getting in. He's still walking behind the huddle, still kind of going through the movements when he's not in. And then when he jumps in, I would say he's probably more slated to be a wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4. But some of that is just due to the talent that they have right now. When you have Brian Thomas Jr., Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, and then you throw in Travis Hunter. That is a nice quartet of wide receivers, and we didn't even mention Brenton Strange and what he is going to be able to do as a pass catching tight end. So for now, anticipate and expect Travis Hunter to be a 1.5-way player rather than a 2-way player that is a starter on both sides. Regardless, he should make plenty of contributions. Second thing that stood out to me is Trevor Lawrence and how much command and control and confidence he has in this offense. Last year, he was learning the offense, trying to understand it. And when you talk to quarterbacks, they'll say like learning a new offense with a new coordinator and a new head coach, it's kind of like learning a foreign language. You may understand it, you may understand subject verb agreement, but you're not fluent in the way that you speak it. Trevor Lawrence now is fluent in the language. He understands it. When the play call comes in to his headset in the huddle, he not only knows how to regurgitate it, but he can visualize what is being done. People are talking about the first day he had some struggles, had a couple turnovers. The connection between he and the wide receivers weren't there. I'm more likely to bank on the way that he performed through most of the offseason. He was terrific. He was superb. The ball came out on time. He has a really good chemistry and connection with the guys that we talked about, Brian Thomas Jr., Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers. They are really on the same page as they're making these things happen in these exotic routes. And the play action passing game, a part of the game where they want to be able to take more shots, push the ball down the field. We'll talk about the running game, but if they can get the running game and the complementary play action passing game going, you will see more of the explosive plays that they desire. And we talked about Brian Thomas Jr., how he got better down the stretch, how they did a better job of pushing the ball down the field and really getting him the ball on the outside on those outbreaking routes. Those things still exist, but I think the command that Trevor has will allow him to unlock more pieces of this offense, and that should allow it to be a little more balanced, a little more diverse, but still just as explosive. Because when you come in there, and we talked about the quartet of receivers and the pass catching tight end, who do you defend? And if the running game is able to get going, man, you talk about an offense that was averaging down the stretch over 30 points a game. You're talking about one of the best and most explosive offenses in football residing down in Duval. Really excited about number 16. I think he knows what to do, but more importantly, he is going to be the big play hunter that Liam Cohen wants at the position. That is going to bode well for this offense going forward. Now on defense, I got to tell you, 44 and 41 are just as dominant and dynamic as ever. Trayvon Walker coming off that fresh new extension. Josh Hines-Allen continue to be a guy that plays at a Pro Bowl level. This duo is fantastic, and they are even better to watch when you had a chance to check them out in practice. I'll say they complement each other with their games. Trayvon Walker is a powerful guy at the point of attack. I would have to describe him as more of a rugged roughneck at the point of attack in terms of he wants the game to be physical. He wants to take the fight to the opposition. And when you see him physically, you understand why. Big old long arms, heavy-handed when it comes to delivering those blows at linemen at the point of attack. And then it's the way that he finishes. He plays with a violence that kind of resonates not only with the opponent, but it resonates with the rest of the team. And I think you will see this team play with even more physicality because 44 is setting the tone. 41, Josh Hines-Allen, he's been solid. He's been consistent, particularly over the last 4 years. He is someone that consistently gets into the paint. He creates consistent pressure on the quarterback. And even though it's not always reflected in his sack production, you feel him when he's rushing the passer. I would say this, like, these guys are both powerful, but the one thing that Josh Hines-Allen has over Trayvon Walker is he probably rushes the passer with a little more pizzazz, meaning you see a little finesse, you see the movement, you see the quickness, you see the ability to kind of turn that speed into power, and you see some ghost movement that allows him to get home. The numbers haven't been at the top in terms of, hey, let's get to the top of the double digits, get into 20, 21 sacks, where now we're talking about premier pass rusher, but he certainly has the potential to be a 16, 17 sack producer. And if you get that with maybe 10 sacks from Trayvon Walker and then somebody else to show up, this is a pass rush that is going to create problems and is going to be a big part of why this team continues to generate turnovers. Now, I got to say this. When I talk about 44 and 41, I have to figure out who is going to be the number 3. Will it be Eric Armstead on the inside, kind of being an inside rusher that can get it done? Or will it be one of the wild cards that are not frequently mentioned, but are really vital parts of the defensive puzzle? Whether that's Dennis Gardeck, who can rush the passer and is really a selective rusher who has been able to be productive in a workmanlike fashion. Is that BJ Green, a guy who's an energizer bunny, who's feisty and physical at the point of attack? Or will it be a guy like Danny Strigow, who has shown some flashes before he had some injuries that kind of tapered his playoff? They have to find another guy that can complement Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, because if they get that other guy, that means somebody is going to be singled, and that singled up guy is going to win. So as much as I love the dynamic and dominant play of Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, one of the things that I'm looking for in preseason, who is the number 3? Who's the third pass rusher that can come in and get it done? Now, before we go on, I got to tell you a little story, right? So I am a guy who, I'm not going to do my own lawn. I have a landscaper that'll come through and do some of these things, and he'll take care of the grass and he'll do the trees and all this other stuff. Well, I lost my primary landscaper and I didn't know what to do. So where do you find someone that can help you when you're in need of help? And so I found my old guy, Mr. Jose, who would come through and he'll do everything that you want. And it doesn't seem like much, but when he comes through and helps me out when I'm in a bind, I really appreciate it. And it made a positive impression on me. So if you're hiring, great candidates can also go to Extra Step, and they can tell you why they're interested in the job that you have on ZipRecruiter. And it's a way for them to stand out from others. As right now, you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter has a new feature that allows you to show the most interested qualified candidates first, so you can meet the right people faster. Just like I met Mr. Jose. He stood out in the crowd. I kind of saw him doing some other stuff, but he was interested. He wanted to help me out. And so that meant a lot to me. For ZipRecruiter, powerful matching technology finds qualified candidates quickly. Candidates can tell you in their own words why they're interested in your job. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site based on G2. Try ZipRecruiter and meet great candidates who will go the extra step for your job. 4 out of 5 employers post on ZipRecruiter to get a quality candidate within the first day. Try for free today at ziprecruiter.com/audio. That's ziprecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Now, one of the things that we talked about, because the first 3 things that we mentioned were all good, I got to mention some things that certainly are a concern. And to me, I think it's who replaces Devin Lloyd is one of the big questions that we're going to have when we go through training camp in the preseason. Devin Lloyd, Pro Bowl player, guy who had 5 interceptions last year. He was a big playmaker on this defense at the second level. He leaves as a free agent, goes to Carolina, and now you have 2 guys that are vying for their spot in Ventrell Miller and Branson Combs. Right now, not only looking at the competition, but in having a conversation, this is one that is an open battle between the 2 guys. In Ventrell Miller, you have someone who has played, 4-year player, a guy who has kind of that experience that you like. What I love about Ventrell Miller is he's such a communicator. He is a energetic guy. He is a guy who's very vocal. He's going to let everyone in the stadium know exactly how he feels. He's going to communicate the calls, make sure everyone is on the same page. From a playing standpoint, he's a thumper. He's physical. He's violent. He's everything that Anthony Campanile wants in terms of a player. They talk in the building about being a physical team, a violent team, a team that takes the fight to the opponent. Well, Ventrell Miller does that. Well, in Branson Combs, you have a different type play. You got a guy who is a terrific athlete. And I know he is someone who has been counted on to be a special teams demon, and he's still a thriving that role. But I think there's some intrigue about his athleticism, his range, his sideline to sideline ability. The thing that he doesn't have is a lot of experience, and he's still trying to put it together in terms of being in the right spot at the right time each and every down. It's easy to see if it plays out like it's playing out right now, Ventrell Miller be the guy that on early downs is in the game to defend the run, to do those things when you need a physical presence, particularly when they're running right at you between the tackles. And then Combs could be the guy that comes in maybe as your nickel backer to run around, chase, track some of those running backs and tight ends that are running down the field, and be the perfect complement to Foye Oluokun, who surprisingly has been a really solid player in zone coverage. Regardless, that will linebacker spot, that battle between Ventrell Miller and Bryson Combs is one to keep an eye on, because when you lose a Pro Bowl player, even though you didn't expect to have him back, it is a huge void. And when you didn't go early in the draft to address it, it means that you feel good about the in-house candidates. We'll see which one of these guys emerges as a big-time player. Now let's go to running back. And this is really where the drama began. I talked about linebacker first because I really want to take time to talk about the running back dilemma. There's a lot of confidence in the building about the candidates and the ability to run this back by committee. And when we talk about the committee, we're talking about Bashaw Tutin, LaQuinton Allen, and also Chris Rodriguez, who was signed as a free agent. Walking out the door, though, was Travis Etienne, who's been a very productive player, a guy who was really able to give you 1,000 yards as a runner, but really dynamic, catching the ball out the backfield, made a ton of plays out the backfield when they needed big plays, and alleviated a lot of the pressure on Trevor Lawrence. How are they going to replace not only that production, but relieve some of the pressure on Trevor to have to do it as a quarterback that, wants to throw it 30 to 35 times a game? They'll talk about committee, and I can understand why there's some intrigue in using a committee, because that allows you to use contrasting styles to throw at the defense to give your offense the best chance to move the ball consistently. Bashaw Tutin is a guy that has speed to burn. When you see him, he was so close last year to breaking out so many big plays. You can feel the straight line speed. The question that you had is the vision and maybe some of the balance and body control, because he just couldn't quite get away. Well, he looks improved. And watching him over the last couple of days, you can see him press the hole on that outside zone scheme. You can see him make some cutbacks. You can see the burst that really tantalizes the coaches and makes them want to put him on the field, because he does have some of that big play potential as a speedster. But we have to see the consistency when he has the ball in his hands. LaQuinton Allen is a guy who is just as tough as they come. They love the way that he is able to step up in pass protection. He doesn't mind throwing his shoulder into the ribs of a unsuspecting pass rusher. He will put his face in the fan when there's a free blitzer coming in. You love all that. Can catch the ball out the backfield. Is tough enough to run it between the tackles. He's just a junkyard dog, and you like to have those guys in the mix. Now, the thing is, with both of those guys, can they do what Travis was able to do in terms of giving you that RB1 production? Even though there's some questions about, man, did Travis leave some yards on the field? You can't deny that when they needed him, he certainly stepped up. So for Tutin and Allen, guys going into their second year, which one is able to take this step forward? We really won't see that until the Jags put the pads on. But more importantly, we won't see it until we get into the preseason and kind of see how they play 11-on-11 ball. The wild card is Chris Rodriguez. He is a guy that was signed from the Washington Commanders. He is someone that they feel confident that he is going to be able to run through tackles at the line of scrimmage. He is going to give them a more physical presence. They're going to be able to run the football. They're going to be able to do some of the things that they couldn't get done in short yardage situations last year. In saying that, he's a bit of an unknown. He missed most of the offseason workout program with a foot injury. He is now just getting cleared to play, and we've never really seen him carry it as a number one, meaning the full workload. It's one thing to flash on 6 to 8 carries. It's another thing to do it for a game or two. But what you're looking for is a guy that can be a danger, that opponents have to talk about him in scouting reports. Right now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if opponents are really game planning to defend the run game, and more specifically, a running back. So this committee situation has to be dangerous enough as all the complementary pieces work together to make people pause and make hard decisions on how to best defend this offense. Throughout the preseason, we're going to keep an eye on Rodriguez, Allen, and Tutin to see not only who emerges as the number one, but if collectively they can be enough of a threat to make defensive coordinators change their schemes to get out some of the too high looks that the league is going to take away the big play, and if they're willing to drop that defender in the box because they want to snuff out the running game. Running back is a big issue, and with this team showing a little outside zone, little duo, the personnel matches the scheme, but can we get the production from the personnel to kind of make this offense pop? Now let's talk about some of the rookies. And anytime you go to training camp early, before they put the pads on. You're going to just kind of see how the rookies are doing. You want to monitor their progress throughout the offseason, first as they go through OTAs, then it's like the mini camps, and now we're back in training camp where they should have a better feel for the offense or the defense and the position that they're playing. Obviously, Nate Burkature is a guy that everyone is paying attention to. Some of that is just because of all the noise in the conversation where people felt like the Jaguars reached for him. And watching him up close and personal, and then watching the tape, there's some really good things to like about him and what he provides. Physical at the point of attack as a blocker. And it appears that the Jaguars wanted more of a traditional wide tight end to be able to complement Britton Strange and what he does on the other side. By having a blocking tight end, someone that can put his hand in the dirt, someone that can take on those edges, it allows you the freedom and the flexibility to maybe use Strange as a mismatch creator, someone that can go out wide, that can play in the slot, that can do things to put linebackers and defensive backs in a bind. But it only works if Burkature is a guy that can be credible and I would say like consistent at the line of scrimmage. I'm going to say this, like he and BJ Green had some battles at the point of attack. BJ Green kind of fancies himself as the bully on the block, but Burkature did not back down. So I love that. I think there are a lot of people that are excited about that. And then when you watched him in other reps, you can see why they were intrigued about what he provides in the running game. Look, he's physical. He can move people off the ball. He's sticky. And more importantly, this is not talked about a lot, but the effort. Man, he plays hard from snap to whistle, and you almost have to pull him off the defender at the end of plays as the Jaguars are seeking an edge, particularly on offense, where they kind of want to play with a little nasty disposition. He fits the mold. And by the way, I'll say this, he catches the ball pretty well. Keep an eye on he and Tanner Kozil, because Kozil is going to have an opportunity to kind of get in the mix as maybe the third tight end, depending on how this plays out with Quentin Morris. Both of those tight ends look pretty good, but Burkature certainly lives up to what they talked about him being, which is a traditional wide tight end that can get it done on the ground. Emanuel Pregnon, he's exactly as advertised. Physical player. Don't know why he slid to the third round, but he gives you what you're looking for in terms of the physicality and toughness. Can't quite say that he is ready to vie and compete for the starting position, but I will say early on the flashes have made you go, maybe he can get in the mix and get into the rotation by the end of the year. But heavy-handed, physical, finishes blocks the way that you want to see, doesn't mind dumping people at the end of plays. He kind of fits this changing of the guard that the Jags have in terms of the temperament and the personality of the players that they're bringing in. Man, he is physical. He's nasty. He doesn't run from the violence. I think you want some guys that aren't afraid of the smoke at the point of attack. A guy that was a surprise, DJ Husky. When DJ Husky was taken, there was a lot of conversation like, why would they take this guy so high? And I'm going to tell you, like, some of the things that are trending in the league are safeties that have cornerback flex, meaning they had cornerback experience in their background. It gives them a chance to be a better cover player in space. Well, Husky showed that. Had some nice plays on the ball, had an interception the day that I was there. You can see how he is able to kind of float and roam. And as this team is doing some of the two high things that we're seeing trending in the league, you can see where they don't mind maybe matching him up in space on tight ends and slot receivers, allowing him to kind of be a see ball, get ball player on the deep half. And I'll say this, impressive to look at on the hoof, like big, tall, fast, physical, a lot of traits that you look for and a lot of traits that you like. And then the final guy that certainly caught my eye, and we'll talk about some more of these rookies the next time, but CJ Williams. CJ Williams coming in has a really good chance to be a contributor. Now, who does he supplant? Who does he move out? I don't know, but I will say this. There's been a lot of buzz about him throughout the offseason. There's been buzz throughout mini camps and those things about not only his ability to grasp the offense quickly, but his ability to make plays. Well, he was certainly making plays when I was there. And it's not just so much of him making these big splashy plays, but it's the consistency that he plays with. And the thing that I would say the Jaguars coaching staff with Liam has certainly learned there is for them, it's not so much the flash, it's more so the substance that they really are looking for. And when I mean substance, they're talking about high IQ pass catchers, guys that can play multiple positions, guys that have the IQ that are to be interchangeable in the lineup. CJ Williams has all of that. And then when you go to his game and look at the tools, good route runner, solid, sticky hands, made plays over the middle in traffic. And the most important part is he's earning the trust of the quarterbacks in the building. We all have darlings throughout the course of training camp, guys that kind of make some noise and make a buzz that we kind of root for throughout the preseason. CJ Williams is on that list for me. He's a young guy who has a lot of potential. I think he may be impactful somewhere down the line, but man, he is certainly off to a good start, not only in terms of what he's been able to do in training camp, but what he's been able to do and kind of winning the offseason. Overall, Jaguars look good, man. A lot of reason to be excited about them. I know we haven't put the pads on, and you want to kind of be cautious about going too hard on those judgments that you see in shorts and T-shirts. But, man, there's a good feeling about this team. The energy is certainly there. And then when you walk in the building and you watch how these guys are taking care of business, not a complacency that sometimes you'll see from teams that have a little success. This team looks like it's aiming for more in 2026. And you know what? Bucky Brooks is going to be right there the whole step of the way, calling their preseason games, being on the sideline, doing the radio broadcast, doing the regular season. Should be a lot of fun. I'm going to bring you all these news and nuggets from your favorite team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Make sure you continue to rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. Check out all the cool things that we're doing on the Believe Network. It is up and coming, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Make sure you shout out our sponsor, FanDuel Sportsbook. Lay a little wager. See if you can make some money on some of these prognostications and predictions during the preseason. Until next time, I am Bucky Brooks, and I'm out.